A lot of you guys have had a chance to put down your spring pre-emergence already, but here in New England we've had some extreme weather fluctuations. So if you live in this area and you haven't yet put down your application, you still have time. In this video, I'm going to tell you about what I plan to use, how I plan to apply it, and most importantly, when to apply it. So first let's talk about what I plan to use. There's two major products that I've used in the past, one being Tenacity, the other one being Prodiamine. Tenacity is a great product, but it's more designed for when you're planting a new lawn or doing some overseeding. In the springtime, like right now, where I'm not doing either, the product that I would prefer to use is Prodiamine. Seems a little bit more powerful and it'll go after more weeds. Prodiamine is available in both a granular application to be put down with a spreader, or as a liquid application to be put down with a sprayer. I prefer to be putting it down with a sprayer, a backpack sprayer, because it gives a more consistent, even coverage. Prodiamine is fairly cheap. I think I got a 5-pound container for under $100, and depending on the size of your yard, that can last you quite a few different seasons because you're not putting it down in like large amounts. It's very small amounts being put into your sprayer as a concentrate. So now let's talk about how I plan to put down my pre-emergent. First off, like I said, I like to use a liquid application. I feel like it gives a more consistent, even coverage on my lawn versus a granular. I like to use my backpack sprayer, and I'm going to recommend, if you haven't already picked one up, to pick one up that's battery operated. It is much easier to get an even coverage with a battery operated sprayer versus a pump style that you have to consistently pump and keep that pressure up. So putting it down is very simple. You've got to determine, what type of lawn you have, what area of the country you live in, and there are certain, mixing ratios depending on how many applications you plan to put down. I get my information from the Yard Mastery website. Basically, in my area for my type of lawn, I plan to put down 3 applications, one now in the early spring, a second one in about mid-spring, and a third application in the fall. So by those determining factors, the mixing ratio that I need to use is 0.183 ounces per 1,000 square feet of yard that I have. I also like to use a tracer or a marking agent, which is basically just a blue dye that helps determine where you've put this down when you're spraying it. It also helps determine that you didn't miss any areas, because you want to make sure that you do get good, even coverage. Now, I'm not going to waste a lot of time talking about how to use a backpack sprayer or put down a pre-emergent. There are a ton of videos out there already. I will give you some tips and tricks on what I like to do when it comes to putting this down. First off, you want to make sure you have all the protective gear that you need: boots, gloves, long-sleeved shirts and pants, because this is an herbicide. You don't want to get it all over you. And if you are going to be using a marking agent, I recommend putting down some cardboard where you're going to be mixing this, because this stuff will stain your driveway or your garage floor, and it's very hard to clean up. You'll also want to make sure that you mix this product thoroughly in your backpack sprayer, so that as you're putting this down, you are going to get even coverage of the product on your lawn. When putting down an application with a backpack sprayer, you just want to walk at a consistent speed. That way you get even coverage. You just want to go back and forth, paying attention to that marking agent, as it helps determine where you've sprayed and where you still need to spray. Now let's talk about when to put down a pre-emergent. Now, obviously right now is the perfect time to put it down. It is springtime, the temperatures are just right. but it's basically the soil temperatures that you want to pay attention to. There's other determining factors that you can use, like if you've got forsythia bushes in your area, a yellow flowering shrub of some sort. When you start seeing that bloom or start to bud, that basically tells you that your soil temperatures are about where they need to be to put down a pre-emergent. Me, I like to be a little bit more scientific. I like to use thermometers. I've in the past used some handheld thermometers that I basically can just stick in, and it'll give me a quick reading of the soil temperatures. More advanced lately, I've gotten into a product made by Ambient Weather, which is a thermometer that I can leave out into my yard. It sticks a probe about 4 inches down, and it gives me all kinds of information on a website that I can log into, current soil temperatures, and even graphs that show me how things are basically fluctuating and moving over the course of time. What you're looking for is when the soil temperatures are approaching the 55-degree mark. Now, if you start seeing 50, 55, for quick spikes, and then it drops down to, the 30s and 40s again immediately, that's still not a good time to put down your pre-emergence. You're looking for that 50-degree mark consistently over a week's time. There's also a website that you can log into called Greencast, and you put in your zip code, and again, it tells you all kinds of information on your soil temperatures, giving you past and present graphs, showing you current temperatures and trends that are in your area. So you'll want to use one of these different methods to really determine what the right timing is to put down your pre-emergent. If you miss it, then the weeds that you're trying to go after will potentially already start emerging. If you put it down too early, you're basically wasting your money because these pre-emergents only last in the ground for so long. So if you want to avoid having a yard full of weeds this summer, you'll want to take the time to make a small investment in a pre-emergent application. Trust me, I have made this mistake before in the past, and I have been extremely upset come midsummer when I've got all kinds of crabgrass and other weeds going on in my yard. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.